Hey chicks, let's chat. Happy holidays to everybody out there. Whew, listen, this thing kind of hit me a little hard because I feel like in the last couple of weeks I just been struggling with just some things, just trying to find some meaning in some stuff and get some understanding about just life stuff, right? And I feel like this, just really dropped in my spirit is that I had been expecting people to give me what they didn't have to give me, right? Like I had been assuming that because I was strong, that they were strong as well, because I was able to show up in a certain way that they could do the same thing. And when they did not do that, then I had an issue with that. And I may not always address the issue with them, but low-key, it's like I felt some kind of way that they didn't give me back that, And even in some situations, I removed myself from them, right? Because they didn't show up in the way that I needed them to, or in the way that I wanted them to. And then just, last night, out of the blue, I was thinking about a particular situation. And I was like, that person did not show up for me and did not say, hey, don't do that. You shouldn't do that. And then I said to myself, but how many times did that person do that in their own life? How many times did they didn't stick up for their own self with people? So why did you expect them to just stick up for you in that particular situation, when they had so many other situations in their own life that they didn't stick up for themselves? So that was crazy on your part to expect that from them. So now you are charged with figuring out all the times when you were expecting something from a person that you never should have expected that from them. You were wrong to expect that from them. You are accountable for knowing what you're dealing with. And when I really, digested that, I was like, man, it's like, I can't have no type of attitude, definitely can't be mad, because the reality is that, we have to pick people better if we're expecting them to do certain things. If we're expecting them to show up with strength, then we have to pick strong people. If we're expecting them to show up and bail us out of money situations, then we have to pick people with money. But we're expecting people to bail us out of situations with money who don't even have no money, or who are financially strapped themselves. And when they don't, put themselves in a further financial situation to help you out of yours, because maybe you did it for them, then you feel like they're wrong. When the whole time they've been struggling their own self. That's why you done had to help them. But you get mad when I did it for them. Yeah, you did. But that's the whole point. You had to do it for them. So then you can't expect that they're going to be able to do it for you. And I just think that, it just made me understand like how we have really went about a lot of things wrong, because I'm just really looking at it from a friendship standpoint. But then I have to, get into the meat and potatoes of it and say, like, how many times have we did that in relationships? Where we are really expecting people to do things that those people just not cut out to do. Even when it comes to gender roles, you expecting this woman to show up in a certain way that she's just not cut like that. You expecting her to be clean and to clean up because she's a woman, but yet maybe she never had a mom to show her those things. Maybe her mom wasn't clean, right? Maybe they were, you know, and maybe her mom could have been clean, but maybe they lived from hotel to hotel or from place to place, so they never really, you know, were stable enough to where that woman learned how to keep house. And if you don't know that about her background, then now that she's in her first or second place and you're over there, you're saying how dirty she is, and you don't understand that, hey, she never had her own place. She never really had her own room to maintain. So just because she's a woman, it does not mean that she automatically comes with, you know, Susie Homemaker material. Same thing with men. Same thing with men. Just because he's a man, it doesn't mean that he comes with Bob the Builder skills. Doesn't mean that he comes with Patrick the Provider pockets. You know, some guys, they don't have that skill. They didn't have anybody to teach them that skill. The only person they had providing for them was their mom. And she barely was able to do that. That's why they had to start finding other ways to get the things that they needed. So now that you with him and he asking you what you bringing to the table, because he don't know anything about holding the fort down his own self, and that, you know, trying to be the provider and trying to, you know, make sure that everybody all right on his own. He don't have no idea what that type of weight feels like. And even when he think about it, he don't want that type of weight on his shoulders. So again, it all goes back to, a lot of times we are putting our own expectations on people. And it's like, we're not having the right conversations. We're just assuming. We're dealing with people, and we just think that this is who they are and this is how they are, and we don't have a clue. And then we be so disappointed when they don't meet the mark, and then we'll say that, you know, that they were putting on, or that they were pretending, or they were acting like they had this, that, or the third going on. And maybe that's not always the case. Because maybe they were able to show up in certain ways, but in the way that you thought they had it together, that was the furthest thing from the truth. They did not have it together in that particular way. So I think at the, you know, end of it all, we just have to get back to the basics and have the proper conversations. Ask the questions instead of assuming. How are you when it comes to this? Do you like doing this? Can you do this? What's your favorite this? Like basic stuff. And people act like we shouldn't have those kind of conversations. Oh no, but we can't skip those kind of conversations. It seems very elementary, but no, we have to get back to the elementary stuff, because we skip over a lot of the basics, and then when the basics circle around back to us, we like, oh, how in the world could they not have? How you didn't know that I needed you to come to the family house when my people died? How you didn't know that I needed you to support me in that? Well, he didn't know, because hey, he didn't get no support when his people died. All they had was a crematory service for his people. Ain't nobody come around for X, Y, and Z. Bring this, that, or the third. But you may not know that. And maybe it wasn't a big deal to him, because that was all he knew. But you come from a situation where you expect grandiose things to happen, because that's what you've seen, and that has been your experience. So when you don't get that in return, you feel like somebody shorted you. the whole time the person that you're dealing with or the people that's around you, that's not their experience. They don't know that they need to do that. And I am talking specifically when people don't know and that's just not who they are. I'm not talking about when they absolutely knew and they chose not to be there for you in a certain way. I'm talking about that. I'm talking about the times and the situations when you gave a person the benefit of the doubt that they were going to show up for you and be this and that for you when they didn't know how to do that. They didn't even know that they needed to do that for you. And now you are all pissed off and hurt and mad. And they like, I'm sorry, I ain't know. And you thinking like, what? How? Who don't know that? Them. They didn't. You know? So yeah, and I just, I have in my mind one particular situation that I have experienced, and I'm just like, I cut the person off, and I'm still cutting them off because, like, we'll never be friends again. But when I think about the situation, I'm just like, how could you ever have expected that she would be this or that for you whenever she's never been this or that for anybody? You know what I'm saying? So sometimes the red flags are there out the gate, and you have to pay attention to those. You have to pay attention to those. And it's not always so much that they red flags, but sometimes they're just character traits. And when you know that you're not cut a certain way and you don't want to be bothered with certain things, don't indulge. Don't give them a chance. When you know that they're like, no, you're not into that. You don't like those type of people. You don't like those type of characteristics. Don't indulge. Do yourself a favor. Go the opposite direction. Because when those characteristics show up in those people, you still gonna be equally, if not more, upset. When you knew that that's how they was. You knew that they had some of those characteristics, right? You already kind of knew that out the gate. You just thought they would do better for you. Sometimes that be the case. No. Some of that stuff you just have to, don't even give them a chance. And then other things you have to just really say, you know what? What's the chance that this person gonna show up for me in this, that, or the third type of way? If I really need them to. That's just like, if you have a homegirl and she's scary, and you know that you ain't scary, and y'all in the situation, what's the chances that the scary girl gonna support you in the way that you need to be supported? Not a good chance. And then you're gonna feel like she betrayed you or she left you this. No, she was scary. And you knew she was scary. So the best thing you could have done is not ever put a scary person in that type of a situation. And the best thing she could have done is when she knows she's scared, she need to go hang with other scary people. She don't need to hang with a person who is boisterous and who is, strong and able to stand on her business. Because she knows she's scary and she gonna want to run. Unless she's trying to get out of that. You know what I'm saying? But if she's not trying to get out of that, then she don't need to hang with the strong people. She need to go and hang with the scared people because they're going to avoid all the smoke all the time. Right? So that's all I'm saying. You got to kind of get back to sticking with your kind. And to me, that's biblical. When it say unequally yoked, all that type of stuff ties together. Now I can understand better when it says don't be unequally yoked. It's not just talking about saved, unsaved, etc. so forth. No. Sometimes stick with your kind. Stick with your kind. If they spending money, boo, cool, you're gonna be pissed off if you're a saver. No. You're gonna be pissed off. Like, no. You gotta figure out what they do, how they do. And if y'all ain't on the same page with certain stuff, stay far away from them people. You're gonna save yourself some headaches. And that's whether they your friends, your homeboys, whatever they is. Stick to what works for you.